What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Common Bengals W. Hopefully, we are saying that that was a common Bengals W more than 9 times this year. Off-season wrap-up. Haven't done one of these shows in quite a while. I feel like that happens quite a bit, right? The day job sort of gets in the way of that. We did do a really, really fun show earlier this year. I think it was my first in-person show that I did, and I did it with Lord Crew, I think it was R- Squared Circle Expo is when it was. Didn't get like heavy traffic or anything, but by God, I was glad that we did that show. Um, Covering the Bengals draft like minutes after it happened and getting a lot of initial reactions. And obviously, there have been a lot of things that have happened since then that we're going to talk about. But man, it's been a while. It's like after the Trey Hendrickson situation, I was like, man, how's it gonna go? I got to be honest, man. A lot of my passion to stream was sort of zapped. As if you're in the chat, please leave a comment. Don't have to send super chats, humper chats over on this one. We got Nick Hester here. We got King of the North here. Bengals bad, Burrow bad. But I did the DraftKings show that they asked me to do, where I did a live multi-stream of the game, like of my reactions from the game. And that just completely eliminated my heart for the season. Beyond the fact that the Bengals defense was so bad, beyond the fact that there were, a ton of injuries on that side of things, I watched the Bengals get hosed enough in a year of which their team already struggled in defense. I didn't need to see the Bengals get hosed by officiating as well. And for anybody that's like, well, what's it matter? The amount of which the Bengals got hosed last year absolutely kept them out of the playoffs. Did they deserve to be in the playoffs? Probably not, at least on a defensive standpoint. But after seeing that, and after seeing the was it or wasn't it pass interference against the Chiefs, and seeing the Gesicki thing kind of turned over, and then just seeing, things where the Bengals couldn't hold on to the football, specifically the dude Joe Burrow, who had an incredible opening or incredible season, rather. He had trouble holding on to the ball. Tanner Hudson fumbling at the goal line. There were things so often throughout this season that were just very frustrating to watch. Now, that Washington Commanders game, they weren't going to win that game. That was a Jaden Daniels game, but they blew it so many times. And I did go watch a game in Dallas, of which I'll tell you all about momentarily. But after that, I stopped doing the show weekly. I was like, man, this one took a lot out of me. A bit fair weather, yes, certainly fair weather. But man, it was like, man, where's the joy in this? Where's the fun in this? And after dealing with wrestling social media for a number of months since then, I said, oh, you know what? Actually, it was a lot more fun doing the Bengals stuff. So here we are. We're talking about the Bengals off season. We did do a draft wrap up, so no need to really go back into that. But there were certainly a lot of things that happened since then. We covered Jamar Chase and T. Higgins re-signing, and that's pretty incredible. I'm very happy about that. Here's the way I feel. And we can go right into Trey Hendrickson, right? Keep all your elite players. And when I mean elite players, I mean if you got a top 5 like at a position like that. So wide receivers, right? Obviously you want 2 people that are in the best 75 to 100, because there's so many of them. Defensive ends, you want somebody. If you got somebody in the top 10 of defensive ends in the league, you need to keep them, and they need to keep Trey Hendrickson. Now, here's how I feel about this. Trey Hendrickson signed a contract, and he should honor that contract. However, he is absolutely right and reasonable to want an extension. Specifically, an extension that might add some to his salary this year if it's like, 2 or 3 years. The Bengals should be giving him a 3-year extension. He takes care of himself. He will still be good in 3 years. I really respect that he showed up to training camp now, because the last thing that we need is a Bengals self-imposed offseason that follows the incomplete training camps that we have experienced before. And we still experience some of it between the Trey Hendrickson thing and the Shemar Stewart thing, which we'll get into. Last year, it was Chase and Higgins, right? And Trey. Like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? The year before, it was Joe Burrow. And also Joe Burrow coming back from a wrist injury. And the year before, it was a calf injury. The year before, it was appendicitis or something. The year before, the ACL. Joe Burrow has never had a complete, full, healthy training camp and then hasn't had one with his guys. And that's what we're seeing this year. No concerns about the offense. Big concerns about the defense, especially if they don't get Trey Hendrickson into a spot where he's going to play. Him being at training camp makes me believe that he'll probably play anyway. Because I'll tell you what does hurt your market value next year, regardless, is not playing your age 30 year. That certainly doesn't help things at all. But the Bengals should have paid him and should have paid T and Jamarr as soon as they were able to pay them. Had they done that, had they paid Trey Hendrickson when he wanted to, instead of the $15.8 million that he's making, it's probably going to be 35 to 40, and they probably could have gotten him for 25 to 26. Now, they couldn't have re-signed him when he wanted initially because there just wasn't enough time that had lapsed for that to be something you could do. But they could have saved maybe 10 to 15 million on what they spent on him. Same with Jamarr, Chase, and T. Higgins. You pay these guys early, just like you did Joe Burrow. But now, as a result of that, they have effectively cost themselves maybe 2 or 3 really great defensive pieces. They could have went out on the free agent market and spent $10 million or so on a linebacker or somebody like that, like somebody good. They could have went out and got somebody. They could have went out and got a right guard that was really good. The Bengals flushed $30 million down the toilet. Probably more. As King of the North says, they could have saved so much money on Chase had they got the deal done sooner. Absolutely. I mean, look at the QB salaries right now. Let me just pull those up real quick. Right now, Joe Burrow has like the second highest average per year. Tied with Josh Allen, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence. Dak Prescott is making more than Joe Burrow right now. So if you're the Bengals, you got to feel really good. You got to feel really good that the Jaguars paid Trevor Lawrence that amount. You got to feel really good that the Dolphins paid Tua like $2 million less. Jared Goff, $2 million less. Brock Purdy, $2 million less. I love Jared Goff. He's good. But the guys, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, are nowhere near the vicinity of Joe Burrow. Lamar Jackson at 52 looks like a steal now. He's like the 10th highest paid. And it's just going to keep going up. The Bengals got that done early. And as a result, they got a guy who's lumped in there with 5 other guys as far as salary, when I think pretty indisputably he's 1 to 3. And what's Mahomes at? Mahomes is at a song right now. Let me see what he's at. Because they signed him early and signed him to like a 10-year deal. Because they're smart. $45 million. 16th highest paid quarterback. He played not great last year. They won in spite of him sometimes. Bengals not paying the stars just screwed them with signing a guard, a safety, and a corner. Linebacker room will be way better this year. So let's go ahead and talk about that. The Bengals re-signed T and Jamarr. They also re-signed Mike Gesicki. I know that Mike Gesicki was somebody that Joe Burrow wanted. I understand that. And I see all these things. It's like, oh, no, Mike Gesicki's going to compete with Noah Fant, who they got. I can't believe they got Noah Fant. Phenomenal. Bengals, by the way, are undefeated in the last number of years when scoring 40 or more, which seems to be their plan. Mike Gesicki is going to work more in the slot. I don't know if I would have given him that amount of money because, listen, I guess they could just cut him if it doesn't work next year. Akuma Mikey, great to see you. Says if we can be average on defense, we're Super Bowl contenders. Absolutely. And Eric All is going to be out probably for the year. You got Hudson and Sample. Outside of, Hudson, that opening week, both of those guys have been sort of dependable. But you got Noah Fant and Gesicki there, with Gesicki working out of the slot a lot. So you've got T, Jamarr, Gesicki as like a fringe, and you got Yoshivas, who I'm very satisfied with Yoshivas as a third or fourth receiving option. I'm more interested in what Jermaine Burton is going to do because they seem confident that he is going to do something. It speaks volumes about how they view him from a talent standpoint that they didn't let him go after that ridiculous stuff that he did that probably should have gotten him fired. Should have certainly got him fired. But I got no qualms with the way that things are going from the receiver and tight end standpoint, especially in years in the future if Eric All steps up. I don't know what Tanner McLaughlin, I have no idea what he's going to be. Running back, no problem with that. Chase Brown, really, really like that. Running back's becoming a premium position again. They got rid of Zach Moss. That was a weird restructure anyway. Like it didn't look like he was going to be able to make it back. But they got Samaje Perine, and it's so funny because Samaje Perine was a guy who was this close to taking Joe Mixon's job before the big 5 touchdown game that Joe Mixon had, right? And then that bought Joe Mixon basically through the end of the season. But Samaje Perine left Cincinnati, went to Denver, had a good season. When he got used in Kansas City, he did well. Getting 4.5 out of your backup or your third down back, not bad. Not bad. He's got good hands for a running back, so good. I'm fine with that. I'm good with that. And again, he did almost take Joe Mixon's job. Like, if you go back and you look, for everybody that was talking about, oh, well, Joe Mixon had a crazy season in Texas. Yeah, they protected him a whole lot better. But how did he end the season? Well, he ended the season with less rushing yards than he had this season prior with the Bengals. About 0.1 yard to carry more, I think, as I'm looking. It was a comparable season outside of some very strong performances. I got no problem with the Bengals moving on from Joe Mixon. I love Chase Brown. So let's talk about the guard position, because that's what I'm very concerned about. Alex Kappa gone, fantastic. You could have put up a scarecrow and it would have done more than what Alex Kappa did for the Cincinnati Bengals last year. He was so bad. Cordell Volson was so bad. Now, they're going to keep Cordell Volson because he's the cheaper of the two options, and he was willing to restructure. So he takes a pay cut. Yes, great. Glad he did that. And if he's taking a pay cut, I got no problem with that. I got no problem with him being there. I do have a problem with him and maybe Cody Ford sort of going uncontested. You know what I mean? And they brought in Lucas Patrick. And when I look at Lucas Patrick, he's had trouble staying healthy. He had trouble staying healthy early on in camp. But I'm like, that's the guy that you're bringing in to compete? Like, that's the dude? That's the one? Now, I do expect the Bengals to make better use of their young players. So I do expect, down the line, Dylan Fairchild, Jalen Rivers, people like that to get more of an opportunity. I fully expect that to happen. But I've got very, very little confidence in the guard positions. I'm feeling good about Orlando Brown, Amarius Mims, and I'm feeling pretty good about Ted Karras. Feeling pretty solid about that. I like them picking up Matt Lee last year, like that. But those guard positions, buddy, oh boy. I got real concerns about defensive tackles knocking Joe Burrow down a whole lot of them. So, how about the other side of the trenches? BJ Hill re-signed. I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, so they can sign 30-year-olds to 3-year deals. All right, okay, good, fine. I understand that you're not going to easily replace him. I understand that you went D-line heavy in the draft last year, McKinley Jackson, Chris Jenkins. And with a new defensive coordinator, you're probably going to see what they can provide a lot more than you would have under Lou Anarumo, because listen, Lou Anarumo was a Jesse Bates merchant. I will continue to say that until I die. A Jesse Bates merchant. Should have never let him go either. But I do like TJ Slayton for defensive tackle depth, because they need depth from some of their free agents that stay healthy. Because that's a big issue, man. Like, they brought in Sheldon Rankins and bam, he immediately went down. Like, they spent some money last year. Money they could have spent this year if they would have signed their outgoing talent much earlier. But like they spent a lot of money that just went down the toilet. Von Bell sucked, man. He sucked. Him being gone, that's a net positive. You look at so many of the replacements. Trent Brown, his absence, cool. Thanks. Give me back my millions of dollars. How about some other ones? Trenton Irwin left. Love Trenton Irwin. Glad he's getting a shot elsewhere with the Jags. But it was time to move on. There are better emergency guys there. Von Bell, better replaced with literally any of the 1,400 guys on the secondary that got drafted in the last couple of years, if they can stay healthy. Because health is a big part of these defensive issues as well. Jermaine Pratt, listen, he didn't perform well. He definitely got a lot of help due to the fact, or definitely his stats got bumped up a little bit due to the fact that the defense was just in shambles, and he got a lot of, well, here I am type of tackles. But like Oren Burks is a guy that I'm like, okay, he stays healthy as well. Needs a little bit more time. Maybe they'll see how he works. I want to see Njong Meta take a step up as well. I really liked him. You want to talk about guys that gave up on plays last year. And the Bengals defense had a lot of guys that gave up on plays. And Njong Meta, even when he kind of screwed up in that Dallas Cowboys game, he didn't give up on the play. And as a result, the Bengals ended up doing something unbelievable with that punt. And it was incredible. I watched that game by myself at AT&T Stadium while I was there for work. And it was one of the most enjoyable live experiences of my life, which, trust me, we'll get into when we talk about stadium. Joe Giles Harris, sure, whatever. A departure I'm not thrilled about, Mike Hilton. The Bengals seem awfully confident in the fact that they can take all these young guys that they have in their secondary and make them something. Cam Taylor-Britt a couple years ago looked like he would be a top cornerback. Then he had that unbelievable interception against Patrick Mahomes. And then all of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes picked on him because, Patrick Mahomes ain't no bitch, bro. He's like, oh, Patrick Mahomes like,
okay, I'm just gonna go at him then. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pick on him.
And he did. And he exposed Cam Taylor-Britt, and every quarterback started to do that too. That's got to change. Dax Hill being back, great. I want to see what DJ Turner does. I want to see what these guys do, but they seem very confident that, like, Jordan Battle and DJ Turner and Cam Taylor-Britt and Dax Hill can sort of piece, and Josh Newton can piece it together, and they can get something out of that. And Dejon Anthony, I'm sure. Geno Stone taking a pay cut. A lot of respect for that gentleman as well. Listen, he underperformed. Had Geno Stone played better throughout the early parts of the season, and the Bengals probably make the playoffs, but I do want to make this clear. You could say that about almost anybody. You could say if Joe Burrow held on to the football despite having an MVP caliber season in that Chiefs game, playoffs. If Dejon Anthony didn't get a pass interference, playoffs. If the refs didn't call all this stuff, playoffs. If Evan McPherson didn't miss one kick, playoffs. If one more tackle is made, playoffs. Israel says, why do analysts talk about last year's team like they were 4-12 and say we have zero defense? The record was 9-8. I fully believe 11-6 is possible this year. Buddy, I think 12-5 was possible last year. It's just, again, the Bengals had, I don't want to say the worst luck because they didn't come in preparing. As King of the North says, this all comes back to them starting every single season 0-2. You're exactly right. And if the Bengals start 0-2 this year, Zach Taylor's got to go. As someone asks me, how hot is Zach Taylor's seat? I don't think his seat is hot unless he starts 0-2. That's when I think his seat is hot. As our friend Lord Cruz says, last season was so heartbreaking in many ways, but this year's about to be real fun. And Bengals and Leafs fan got to be rough. Listen, I know I sounded very dramatic at the start of this show saying it zapped me of a lot of my passion to stream. But in reality, the schedule picked up as well, and I had to do work for the day job. But from an offensive standpoint, I mean, right now, the offensive line is upgraded by not having Kappa there. I fully believe that Patrick being there and drafting guards is an upgrade to the guard position. Tight end, upgraded. Wide receiver, I mean, just it's the same, which was world record level. Quarterback, well, he's going to be healthier this year. By the way, I thought Joe Burrow was great on quarterback. I loved seeing how passionate he was. I loved seeing how much he cared when the Bengals played badly. I also hated hearing so much about what kind of music Kirk Cousins liked. What dumbass producer said, you know what we got to have? We got to have Kirk Cousins talking about how much he likes Imagine Dragons. Because by doing that, you just ruined the experience for me. I did not enjoy it. Loved Jared Goff. If I had another team I had to cheer for, it'd be the Detroit Lions. But watching that and seeing Zach Taylor say, oh, but I'm going to put over our defense. Bro, y'all gave up 27 points. 27 points. That's not good. Giving up 27 points is not good. Just because you'd given up 34, 35, 37, 38, 41, and 44 doesn't mean that giving up 27 points is good. It's insane. I'm going to put over the defense. No, the defense sucked in that game too. They sucked in that game too. Anywho, get a veteran corner. For the love of God, Bengals, get a veteran corner. Stephon Gilmore is still out there. I said it last year. Hey, here's another one, guys. Had the Bengals signed Stephon Gilmore last year, the Bengals would be in the playoffs. Let me tell you something I hate about. Hate is a strong word. I don't like about sports media. And it's so funny because in wrestling media, like people pretend to be upset over everything, but I will always see stuff like, well, no sports writer would ever do this. And Jordan Schultz is confronting people at Starbucks, and you got Jeff Passan going off on Doug Minkiewicz, which deserved, by the way. Jeff's the man. But like it happens. But a thing I see on like Sports Illustrated, all due respect, love those guys, or like these outlets is sports team urged to sign so-and-so ahead of 2025 season. And what it is they'll take a tweet of just a fan saying, well, the Bengals should sign Stephon Gilmore, and they'll run with that as a report. Could you imagine, wrestling fans, if I did that? If Jeremy Lambert tweeted WWE should sign Cora Jade back, and we ran the headline, WWE urged to re-sign talent urgently. Well, Sportskeeda does do that. But damn, man. Oh, it just drives me nuts, bro. And I understand, like, when you're covering like a Bengals beat and stuff like that, there's not as much to write about. And I have great respect for the people that cover the Bengals. Let me just tell you, we are spoiled. We are spoiled to have James Rapine and Jake Lisco and Joe Goodberry and oh my God, like Riccacino, like the Right Report, like we're lucky to have those gentlemen. Even Dave Lapham providing insight, all that stuff. Oh man, somebody says welcome aboard, Sean. God bless the Detroit Lions. My good friend Mona, big Detroit Lions fan, hoping that her and her husband come down, watch that game with me this week. So let's talk about that as well, because I'm not done talking about the season. But yes, I just want to say this. Geno Stone took a pay cut, and he really, really turned it up towards the end of the season. He really did. He cut $1.5 million down to $4.9 million. I got no problem with that. So, also the Bengals picked up Desmond Ridder in favor of Logan Woodside. So I've also got no problem with that. I'm very, very comfortable with Jake Browning as the backup, but Jake Browning didn't play last year. So I don't mind them bringing Desmond Ridder in Logan Woodside's place, as Desmond Ridder is, former third-round pick, local to the area, went to college in Cincinnati, was born in Louisville, has 18 career starts in the NFL, completes about, 63% of his passes. Not a good quarterback. Not a good quarterback at all, but somebody who has started some games in the NFL. I mean, he started 13 games in 2023. They won 6 of them. You could do a lot worse than that as your third option. Love them doing that. No, they haven't. I would love to find out why they won't sign a veteran corner. Would love that. Still think we wasted 2 seasons on Frank Pollock being the offensive coach. Yep, probably. We need you and Steve Dangle to talk about Leafs hockey and wrestling, 2 tortured souls. I am such a casual Leafs fan, though, because I don't have a way to watch it on TV down here. What happened to Kappa? He sucked, bro. That's what happened. I do think that having a new defensive coordinator will help. Akeem Davis-Gaither, that's a person I wish the Bengals could have kept. Von Bell is gone. Good riddance, all due respect. Jermaine Pratt is gone. We'll see if that is addition by subtraction and replacement, but they did fill up like sort of the linebacker spot there. And again, I mentioned Joe Burrow. It's in my notes on quarterback. I really enjoyed that. I really did. That was a lot of fun. Darth Bengal says, "Who day?" Indeed, who day? Who day? I'm not in my usual setup over there. This kind of came together quickly, and I was like, "Damn it!" Preseason snuck up on me. It's next week. I got to do this, and plus, I'm not in New York right now for SummerSlam, which I'm so excited about. I will be doing a preview show as well. But Bengals signed the lease with the county through 2036. There are option years through 2046. They're going to modernize the stadium, $470 million renovation. The Bengals will invest, I guess, $120 million of it. The Bengals had some reservations about parking spaces. They should. Parking sucks there. Let me tell you what's a brilliant idea, guys, to put a baseball stadium, a football stadium, and a concert venue right next door to one another all along the river with very little parking, and then the inability to put traffic on the other side of the stadium. Listen, I understand a lot of people love downtown Cincinnati. I do not. I would have been completely fine if they moved to Northern Kentucky. Wouldn't have bothered me a bit. But I gave up my season tickets. And I'll tell you what did it. It wasn't the on the field thing. First off, it was ownership. 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, season ticket holders got AFC championship rings as their gift. The year I started, we got a blanket. All right. Last year, we got a decal. A decal. Prices went up, by the way. I can say this now. When they restructured the seats, I had a phantom seat. So instead of getting 2 seats, I basically got 3 because they didn't number the seat. Oh, that was so fantastic. But I did give up my Bengals season tickets. And the thing that definitively made my mind was going to the Monday Night Football game against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, here's how I ended up there. I'd never been to an away game before. AEW had a ticketing on sale event in Dallas that morning. They wanted to capture some of the sports media that was going to be there as well, and they did. And myself and Denise Salcedo hit up AEW and said, if we travel there, can we get interviews? And they said, yeah, sure. Let's do it. Why not? And it was a great time. We got some incredible interviews. The ticketing event was chilly. It was chilly out there. But I looked at it and I was like, well, you know what? I can go to a Bengals road game in Dallas. It's in a stadium. I'll do that. Sure, why not? Waited to the last minute. Waited until I was walking up to the stadium to buy my tickets, and got lower level, middle of the field, single ticket. So 20 minutes before the game, a single ticket, sideline, somebody's trying to unload that bad boy. They don't want to take a complete loss on it. So I got it for a good deal. And honestly, by the time I even got to the field, I kind of knew, okay, I would rather watch Cincinnati Bengals home games from my home. Now, there is an exception. If my dude Crew hits me up, I'll go. My dude Drew hits me up, I'll go. My friend Mona and her wonderful husband come down from Detroit, I'll go. Nick and Jeff, we're going to a game this year. Might go to the Jags game, the opener, just to troll Tony Khan. Might do that. But by and large, as opposed to driving 80, 90 minutes to Cincinnati in what is one of the dumbest stretches of highway ever once you get up to Cincinnati. Parking, getting in there, overpaying for water and all that stuff, and sitting in that terrible stadium with the worst amenities. It is a concrete slab with a field of grass in it. That's all it is. There are no frills to Paycor Stadium. And I understand that the Dallas Cowboys have a much more extensive budget, and it is a much bigger deal there. But oh my God, it made me go, okay, well, now my new thing will be I will go to away games. I'll go to at least one away game a year. I don't like to travel. So what does that say? That our stadium sucks so bad that I'm like, no, I gotta travel. The guy who gets travel anxiety now would rather travel than go to a Bengals game at home. Love the environment, love the people, love the Cincinnati Bengals. The ownership takes advantage of us. If the Cleveland Browns can go and do what they're doing, well, listen, I would rather the Bengals be under different ownership if that's the case. And I think that the Blackburns, honestly, obviously they're very pushy about some things because they tried to make some demands late in the deal. But we got a terrible stadium, dude. It's really, really bad. And honestly, I have very, very little confidence that it's going to get any better, even with these like, oh, okay, they added a bunch of screens and a couple more concessions. The food sucks there too. Let's look at the schedule. Let's look at the Bengals schedule this year. First off, psyched that the preseason's happening in Thursday. Very, very pumped. Jeffrey Pridemore says Minnesota and Atlanta are two places I want to see games because their new domes are very cool. Yes. I would love to go to Atlanta. It's also a direct flight for me. But preseason, I ain't going to any of those. Probably not going to go to the Browns game. Might go to Jags Bengals at home. If the Vikings game was a direct flight, I would. I thought about the Broncos game because it's Monday night, direct flight, all that. Might go to the Lions Bengals game because it is, one of my good friends. Again, it's always possible I go to a Thursday night game. Packers, no. Steelers, Jets, Bears. Man, we got 3 straight home games. Usually it's the opposite. I do want to go to a game at Heinz Field eventually. It's just I want to wait until a year where it's not absolutely frigid to go. Bengals Patriots, ain't going to that. Bengals Ravens. Oh, whoa. Is Bengals Ravens at night? Oh, that'd be so clutch. Oh, fantastic. There's no, okay, the Bengals play on Thanksgiving. Hell yeah. That's fun. That's fun. If I could go to that, I would. Bills game is a no. Not in that weather. Oh, okay. December 21st, Miami. All right. Okay. I could see myself making a little trip to Miami around Christmas. I could do that. Let me look at that. I could see myself doing that. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to bore you all with this bullshit. One time in my life, I'll go to a Lions game in Lambeau. I would love to go to Lambeau as well. Can a VC just buy the Bengals, sell it to Saudi? I don't want Saudi to have it. I must disagree. Is our stadium top 5 but sucks? Absolutely not. Here's where I'll disagree with you. Pretty much everywhere there. Not top 5, not top 10, not top 15. It is bottom 10. Bottom 10. And like, do you want Like, say they do an extension. How do you think that stadium's going to look in 2040? It's going to be really bad. It's going to be really bad. Please leave a thumbs up on this video. I would greatly appreciate it. Follow me on Common Bengals W on Twitter. Before we go, Shemar Stewart had his holdout. Very stupid agent, very dumb agent, which he likes his agent, so whatever. But very, very dumb agent wanting. I've got no character concerns as far as this gentleman goes. He seems like a wonderful dude. He's incredibly charismatic, is Shemar Stewart. Don't know if he was the right draft pick, but he is a charming draft pick. I'll tell you that. But it was just a waste of time. It was just drama for the sake of nothing. No, we don't. No, not the extension. No, they already passed the extension. I know they passed the extension, but there's another 10-year option beyond 2036 that goes to 2046. So they're good through 2036, but yeah. Yes, they did pass the extension. It's just there's an option. But like as far as Shemar Stewart goes, like I don't think he's dumb. I think he's a very, very smart guy. I mean, you can tell. And again, very charismatic, very charming. I think he could be a mega star in the league. If he is a hit, I think he is going to be a big hit. And I'm just glad that they got it done because I'm very glad to see what he's going to do. Me and crew on our draft show, go watch it. We're cautiously optimistic here. But they got a very colorful class here. They got like this 2025 Bengals draft class. I like Shemar Stewart. I love the way he talks. I love the way he engages people. Demetrius Knight is somebody that I have high hopes for, and I hope that he can make a difference very quickly. But Dylan Fairchild, the videos of him wrestling UFC fighter Sean Strickland and doing great, very interested in that. And Taj Brooks as a round 6 running back, I think will actually see some field time this year. But this has been a lot of fun, guys. I've missed it. Yeah, I've missed it a lot. And I haven't kept up with the Bengals as religiously as I should have this summer, but it's been a busy summer in the wrestling world. Been very busy. If you want to check out my work there, go to Fightful or FightfulSelect.com. It's SummerSlam weekend, so I'll be streaming all weekend long. I think I've got like between now and Monday, I've got 5 or 6 shows I'm doing. But it is football season. I looked at the preseason schedule, like the Hall of Fame game came on, and I was like, wait, it's July. What are we doing? Like, I didn't realize. And then I looked and, oh, preseason's in a few days? The preseason opener? All right. Hell yeah, bro. Love it. Love it, man. But listen, I know that some of you are watching like on my Twitter and you don't give a damn about football, anything like that. But just thank you for checking it out. You can subscribe to me at Common Bengals W. I also have Fightful. We just hit 200,000 subscribers. Will I watch the preseason games? Yeah, I will watch the preseason games. I'm going to watch the preseason games because it's a very important preseason for the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to get a lot of looks at people who did not get playing time last year. So there's a lot of positions sort of up for grabs right now. So I think it's very, very important. Like right now, there are multiple positions in the secondary that are up for grabs. There's a starting linebacker position. There is, gosh, what else? We don't know the defensive end situation right now. And we just drafted one. You got Miles Murphy, who obviously you want to make a leap. You're going to try to find out if Yoshi Voss or Burton are going to be your wide receiver 3. You might be trying to figure out a little bit at tight end, a little bit. Defensive tackle has a lot of young guys competing for things. There are a ton of starting positions that I feel are up for grabs, or at least some people with things to prove. Like, again, like last year, Njong Meta got himself a job. What's he going to do this year now that position is a little bit more wide open, now that Akeem Davis-Gaither isn't there? Are you pro or con preseason action for starters? Well, I am glad you asked that. That's a fantastic question. I am pro because we have not had a ton of action for preseason start or ton of action in the preseason for starters in recent years. And look how our team has started. The Cincinnati Bengals have been the most ill-prepared NFL team for like 3 years running. 3 years running. I agree. We need a guard. If I were the Cincinnati Bengals, there's a 3-piece checklist I get done. I sign Brandon Sheriff immediately. I sign Trey Hendrickson long-term immediately. And I go get a veteran cornerback. That's what I do. Or safety. I don't care. Veteran corner or safety. I prefer corner. I would very much prefer a corner. Let me see who's out there right now. I mean, Stephon Gilmore is one. I wouldn't mind Justin Simmons either. I'd be cool with that. But for the love of God, please get a veteran. I begged for it last year, and our secondary just got abused. They want one of these guys to come out and prove themselves to be like a Pro Bowler at a young age. I mean, here's the reality. Had the Bengals not let Jesse Bates go, they would have been in the playoffs and probably near the Super Bowl at least one year. Oh, quarterback, no trust in CTB, Turner Hill? No. What did they do to prove that I should have confidence in them last year? Nothing. I like all three of them. I like a lot of the draft picks the Bengals have had the last few years at the secondary position. But they didn't do anything to instill confidence in me that should be sufficient for me. Who's out there? James Bradbury, Kendall Fuller, it says, CJ Henderson, like some people like that. I would be all for it. Guys, I'll probably be here next week after the preseason game, telling you guys how I feel. I just want to say thank you all because I don't know that much about football. I just like talking about it. So thank you all so much. Until next time, we're out.